Because of how well it did, it's rumored that they're actually starting production of a Prince of Egypt live
Okay.
action, and I was like, that's a very interesting one to pick, but okay.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast, with your hosts, Connor O'Neill and Matthew Hughes.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. I'm your host, Connor, along with Matthew Hughes.
Oh, hey.
And happy Canada Day to anyone who is a fellow Canadian. That was yesterday.
Yes.
As of the release of this episode, so we got some red.
Patrioticness. Look at us go.
But yeah, if you're new around here, we this is a nerd-related podcast. We cover a whole bunch of nerd-related topics. I would say probably majority is anime.
Yeah, manga.
Some comic book movies. And then a sprinkle of Harry Potter, sprinkle of Star Wars,
Sprinkle of food.
whatever we're feeling, whatever
Exactly.
we're passionate about at that time.
Exactly.
Which we'll definitely get into in this episode, which is actually we haven't had a quote-unquote unscheduled podcast for a while, so this is going to be a little bit more...
We haven't done an episode like this since February.
Where we're just going to update you guys
So-
on what we've been reading, watching,
What are we doing outside of our regular scheduled...
Yeah, because, one, especially after this, tons of movies
Yeah.
coming out.
Tons of movies, and then
TV
anime of the month,
shows, anime of the
TV
month.
shows. Like, we're like the rest of the summer is just movie, TV show, anime of the month, and then before you know it, we'll be talking about the fall anime season.
I was just gonna say the once we feel like we're like, okay,
Yeah.
we should do the preview
Yeah,
for the next
it's
anime
just-
season. So we finally have a free week to do a little bit of catch up. So which I feel like it's a pretty good timing.
It is.
I think both of us have finished / are currently deep in the rabbit hole of new / old mentioned things.
Yes.
Kind of on the, if you're an OG, you'll know that we discussed Percy Jackson early on because the first season came out or was announced that it was going to get a live action.
And
that-
Connor had my collection for like a year.
And that led into Matt being like, Connor will read it. And then that was just hinted at forever. And then I finally did read it and I crushed it. But yeah, so similarly, Matt we'll get into it when we get to our manga reading.
Yes.
But similarly, Matt has a Tokyo Revengers-esque,
Yeah.
But I guess we'll jump into reading first.
Yeah. Do you want to
So-
start this off? So the way we do this episode is we got like a couple big categories: reading, watching, RPGs, TCGs, and anything else. And this is literally where we just chat about the things that we've been doing all those categories in the last few months. Because, we dabble a lot in a lot of different things that we don't traditionally commonly talk about on the podcast. So this is always a fun episode to just let you guys get to know what we're doing in our spare time, basically.
And you can also, we'll leave bookmarks for this episode specifically so you can jump if you're not really into reading. Totally understand. I totally get where you're coming from. You can jump over to maybe TCG or the RPG stuff, whatever
Tickles your fancy.
Whatever interests you. The end of this episode will kind of do everything else, I
Mhm.
guess, is a good example. But I guess just before we dive into reading, we went to a convention recently.
Yes.
I guess less recently now, but we went to Anime North.
Yep. Hosted in Toronto.
And it was we only went for one day. We went for the Friday. We went with Gray and
Our friend Hayden.
who is also one of the fellow Misfits on the island in the Discord.
One of the OGs.
And we just took a tour. Matt was kind enough to drive. Went up to Toronto. Actually, wasn't too bad of a drive.
No.
Usually, it's
hit and miss, really. It truly
sometimes
is.
you can expect some heavy traffic. We managed to miss out on a lot, which was good. And whole goal for going there was honestly just to pick up some merch. We hit up the artist alley and we hit up the vendors, and that was
basically it. And we left.
We didn't really do any of the extra
activities,
mostly because honestly,
none of it really like stood out to us. Really, that was on the Friday night.
that was on Friday night, and we were there until almost closed for.
Yeah, we were there for a good like 4.5, 5 hours. So like we still got our money's worth of walking around buying.
We knew what we were there for.
Yeah.
kept our eye out for some stuff. We will post our hauls, or Matt will post the hauls in
Yes.
post. If you are also interested, we have a Discord. Hauls were also posted there way ahead of time. So if you're in that Discord, then you already know what everyone got. But yeah, there was some figures, a few different manga that some people picked up.
About a crud ton of small, like, knockoff Lego Pokemon.
Hayden got some One Piece cards.
Yeah.
But overall, it was good. There's so much cool stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to pick and choose. Like, when you go to Comic-Con or Anime North, like, you really have to have a set goal in mind. Okay, so I'm only looking
This is
for
what I'm looking for.
Funko Pops, or I'm looking for manga or graphic novels.
Gray had specific Nendoroids he was looking for, so we kept our eyes out for those. And then maybe like limiting it to, I want a statue or figure of this character.
Yeah.
And then keeping your eye only for that characters, because you look at, there's a lot. Also, Gray and myself almost were so close to pulling trigger on like swords.
Yep.
Those are very tempting, but then it's like you're not gonna do anything with can't do anything with a sword, and then you have to like figure out how you're gonna display it. And for me personally, I would love to get Zoro swords, but if I get one of Zoro swords, obviously
you're gonna
want to
get
all
the
of
other.
them,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I'm gonna have to get a proper display unit to display all of them.
Slippery slope.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was a good time. We saw some pretty awesome cosplays.
Yes, there's some very impressive cosplay.
For sure. But yeah, we will get into that as we go. But here is Matt's haul, Hayden's, Gray's, and myself. So let us know who had the best haul. And yeah, let me know why it was me.
I know it ain't me, so.
But yeah, if you were there, let us know what you guys ended up doing at Anime North and what you picked up. Would be super interested to hear about that. And maybe next time we can try and meet some people.
Exactly.
That'd be really awesome. Without further ado, though, let's start on to our reading tab. Now, for you, Matt, reading it's a way of life.
It is a way of life. I breathe and
You
breed.
have a proper Goodreads account.
Had it since like
put
9
proper
years now.
goals,
Proper
usually
goals.
past the goal.
Yeah, usually past the goal. I dabble in manga, comics, both DC, Marvel, Star Wars, Image stuff. I do young grade novels, young adult novels, regular novels, different genres, sci-fi, horror, mystery.
Yeah, all over the place.
A little bit of everything.
And you're also the classic when people like talk about book nerds, where it's like, oh, finish one book but have 5 more that
Exactly.
it's never.
I like to think book reading and book hurting are 2 different hobbies entirely.
Yeah.
So like you can be a book collector, you can be a book reader. It's very rare that people can be both.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, Matt's hoarding the books.
yes, but I've been doing a lot better this year of reading my physical collections.
You have been a little bit more
So-
strict on yourself as well for avoiding buying for the most part.
Yeah, for the most
And
part.
there's been some special.
Couple of
Cases?
exceptions. If I'm just like killing time and I'm in chapters, I'm like, okay, so I can't buy these yet. But then I'll come across something and they only have 1 volume. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
neat. Okay, cool. Didn't know that was a thing.
And I think like the Star Wars books
Yeah,
are usually on top of getting those.
for the High Republic specifically.
Yeah. But you've been pretty good at making sure that you've at least been reading and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm allowed to get a book now.
Yeah, exactly.
That being said, I am not of the reading variety. Or I wasn't.
You wasn't. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so I've read all of Percy Jackson, which I believe we did update
Yeah.
when I did complete that, because I basically read that December 2024.
Yeah, so I think in the February episode, you were on the last book of Heroes of Olympus because we were both kind of struggling to get through Blood of Olympus.
Yes, so I did finish Heroes of Olympus. A little bit more of a drag at the end, but that could be also the fact that I just went back to back to back through all the Percy Jackson series
Yeah.
and Heroes of Olympus. So it was still enjoyable. I definitely really enjoy the 2 camps and their different views of the
Yeah.
same gods, and obviously it goes into history of Roman versus Greeks, which was enjoyable.
Yep.
Some characters, like any story, different level of likability and
Easy.
order, but it was definitely enjoyable. Have not started the Apollo series, which I believe
Yes.
is next.
The next one in the timeline.
Yes, so I haven't started that or dove into any more of
Riot and stuff.
Riot and stuff, but I will. It's on the list. But after that, I got into I guess we could say got into. I started the. I've gone down the book talk rabbit hole a bit. So I've read the first couple books from the Empyrean series, Fourth Wing, and Iron Flame, I believe, is the second book.
Onyx something.
That's the third one.
That's
Yeah,
the
Onyx
third
Storm.
one.
I haven't read Onyx Storm. Reason being was, so I started Fourth Wing, kind of ish recommended by some people in my circle. And then, so I just started it and cranked through it.
Yep.
Relatively easy read. And then I'm cranking through the second book. My girlfriend was like, I want to read those books. Like, wait, like, slow your roll. So I finished the second book, and then I haven't started the third book, waiting for her to catch up. And in the meantime of waiting for her to catch up to finish the second book, I read the entire ACOTAR series.
Yep. Sarah J. Maas's stuff.
Which I will say, both of these are extremely popular series on TikTok and in general. They were both decent.
Okay.
There's elements I like from both of them, but there's also things I dislike about both of them as well. But I can see why they're popular.
That is very fair.
And both of the, so that's like 2 books. ACOTAR's 5 books.
Yep.
And there's still another one to come. Same with the Empyrean series. I think they're supposed to be
4
or 5. So,
yeah.
we'll see how that ends up going. But the most excited book I am, which is only just a recent new...
recency bias.
A little bit of recency bias, but actually I do think it's just infinitely better than those 2 book series. And that's that I started the Red Rising saga.
Yes, by Pierce Brown, I think the name is.
You could be right. I don't know. I don't pay attention to things. I'm just,
I think that's the author. It's something like that.
I'm just ripping through, I don't pay attention to everything
Yeah.
I should. But yeah, so that's by Pierce Brown.
Yep.
And I've finished the first 3. And in doing so, I've been trying to get Matt, as well as some of my other friends, to also read the series. One, because I wanted to just have other people to
talk about.
It's fun to be able to talk about the series as you're going through. So I've been trying to get other people to read it with me. And in doing so, I've already read the first 3 books when I have not even convinced some of these people to even start the first book.
I physically bought the first book, so I'm
It's
steps
true.
ahead of other people in the circle.
But I just love it. I think it truly it just gets better with each book.
Yeah.
Just really enjoyed the writing, enjoyed the characters. The twists and turns throughout the story are incredible.
I'm definitely excited to read it because you have hyped it up.
So that's been my current obsession, but I've had to put the brakes on just to allow a little bit of catch-up time.
Gotta
The other
slow
thing is,
your roll.
there's a 7th book that doesn't come out till potentially next year in the summer. And I put potentially because it's not done.
Yeah.
So it would really suck to read the remaining 3 books and then just be
Have
stuck
to
for
wait
a whole year.
year and a half. Yeah.
So I'm okay with slowing down a bit, but I have really enjoyed it. Would make an awesome anime. Not gonna lie. In classic sci-fi faction, I think live action is very tough.
Yep.
It'd be very expensive, but I think it would make a cool anime. Just saying. But yeah, and on top of that, in my taking a break, I started it's called the Belgariad series.
Okay.
It's like more of your classic high fantasy series. That's by David Eddings. So I finished the first book of that, which is Pawn of Prophecy, which was solid.
Okay.
Definitely decent. A little, I guess you could say, quote unquote, aged, because it very much has like that very cliche, classic, almost like Tolkien.
Okay. I
Right.
got you.
But it wasn't bad. Enjoyed it. We'll keep reading. I think it's 4 or 5 books.
Finished?
Yes, it's finished.
Okay.
It was written in the early 90s, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe carried out to the 2000s as the other books came out.
Yeah.
And then I remember reading the Inheritance series when I was younger.
Yes.
Or at least the first 3 books.
Yep.
So I'm going to go through that, especially, I mean,
Okay.
newer books have actually come out. So
Yeah. Murtaugh came out, so.
So excited to dive into those as well in my slowing of the
slowing
of
the
Red
pace.
Rising Saga.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
but yeah, it's been I even I've read so much that I've even set a book on Goodreads, a goal of 20 books. So
well done.
think that's an achievable goal.
Yeah,
for me.
because you're already past 10, I think, for the year, anyways, right? So
yes, I believe I'm at 13.
you'll hit a wall at some point, for sure.
Yeah, which will really slow it down.
Yeah, but really, if you're at 13, that's really just one. Like that's just over a book a month.
Yeah.
So that's an easy achievable
Well, and
goal.
some of them, like the like of this Belgariad series, they are a little bit smaller.
Okay.
So I think it's definitely a very achievable goal.
Yeah.
On top of all the other stuff that obviously we'll be getting into. And then for manga, haven't really been cranking out anything crazy. Been keeping up with One Piece.
Yep.
It's been
crazy good.
lots of
So
lore.
much lore in the last like 5 chapters.
Gray was here last week, and I was reading the chapter while he was here, and I was like, oh, I'm getting a flashback within a flashback.
Yeah.
But the lore, I mean, if you want to learn stuff about Shanks, we're finally learning a lot more.
A little bit of Void Century, a little bit of Brook, like
we're getting all over the
getting
place.
Sprinkling a little bit of everything. Kuma.
But yeah, so been keeping up with One Piece. What else have I been reading manga wise? Not much, to be honest.
No, yeah.
I am a few chapters behind on Vinland Saga, and as of recording this is the last. July will be the last month for a chapter.
Yeah,
because the final chapter will be out this month. So I'll probably end up catching up on that and finishing that. That has been just a fantastic series. Been trying to get Matt to read it / watch it for. Actually,
I watched season 1.
Yeah, you've seen season 1. But fantastic series. Definitely looking forward to the end of that. And then I just have like stuff I've been trying to catch up on. Dan to Dan, Dress Up Darling.
Those are mostly ones that you're collecting physical. Or are you reading Dan to Dan and collecting physical, or
Dan to Dan? I'm only reading what I have physically.
Okay, gotcha.
So basically, to try and avoid being, because one issue I've had with, say, My Hero, is that I kept up weekly, and then you catch up, and then if you're collecting it, like myself, you already have it, and you're like, I'll get to that,
yeah.
And so I just think, especially when some series never get English releases, I feel like reading those online, I'd rather read those online, and then the English series I'm collecting, I'll just read them as they come out.
That makes sense.
Sometimes it's a lot harder than you think.
AKA One Piece.
No, well, One Piece is, I've just been reading that online because I just grab the box sets when they come out. I'm always like, there'll be another box set. Dan to Dan's tough because whenever I catch up, I'm just like, I want to keep reading ahead. And there's a good chunk ahead for.
Yeah, they're about like 60
online.
chapters ahead. Yeah.
So that one's really tough, but I wait. I patiently wait. And then, I just probably will end up for the next one of these. I'm hoping I'll be able to check off a couple of the owned manga I have that are completed that I just haven't read.
Yep.
And be able to check those off. But yeah, it's been a little slow on the manga front, but surprisingly crazy on the book front for me, which is
big for you.
Yeah, it's not the normal,
not
I will
the
say.
usual.
But what about you, Matt? What has Matthew been getting into?
All right, so I finished up Trials of Apollo, which was the sequel series to Percy Jackson, the sequel to Heroes of Olympus.
Yep.
It was a good series overall because it was just like a nice so what's everyone else been up to, and you get introduced to a bunch of new characters. You get to see characters you haven't seen in a very long time, which was a lot of fun. I'm taking a break from the Percy Jackson verse basically for like a month at this point. I finished up Trials of Apollo in beginning of May. But because now the final book in the trilogy of Percy Jackson is coming out, so I'm going to read the first 2 and then get prepared for that, and then I'm hoping I can line it up so I can just go to the store, pick it up, and then start reading it kind of thing.
Nice.
And then there's also, I need to read one of the Nico spin-off books, and then a new Nico spin-off book comes out in September, so we'll see how that works. There's a book that came out recently called Forces of Chaos. It's a novel that follows like the Yellow Ranger during the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger things, but like the book starts off with her not even being a ranger yet. So it's like before they get their powers, Rita hasn't been freed yet. The whole nice little like prequel into the early days of them being Power Rangers. For those who've been following along on the podcast for a while, I love Disney Twisted Tales. It's a good little what if book series. So I'm reading one called Suddenly Super. And that is What If Violet Became an Agent of Syndrome. So if you're a fan of Incredibles, definitely check it out. I'm like 150 pages in. It's pretty fun so far. The big twist hasn't really happened quite yet, so it's like leading into it, you know. So those are the novels. Graphic novels. I read a lot of Star Wars Vader comics recently, so I got a bunch of like extra lore in between A New Hope and Emperor Strikes Back, and like his building of character in the comics.
And how much more savage he is.
Oh my god, it's crazy, and so much just lore. And like it was actually really cool because he goes back to Naboo and actually runs into Queen Amidala's advisor, the one that was pretending to be her, and they have a whole arc together. And like he goes to Padme's grave and like actually like pays respects and like learns some like extra stuff that she had no idea. And that's when he fully understands that like there's children. Like the full aspect of learning that Leia and Luke are his kids and like how that all comes together, which is actually super interesting lore. But I'm also reading a series called Power Rangers Recharged, which is when the Power Ranger comics got to issue 100. They did like this sequel series, combined everything together. And there's only 6 volumes of that, and that's like the end of the series. And then they rebooted it to like a new universe kind of thing called Prime.
Do you find that the Power Ranger comics and novels help you with your RPG?
Oh, definitely.
Like just with the lore of
it's
Power Rangers in general?
Definitely, 100%. Because it's like, when you look at the Power Rangers show, like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the 1993-96, right? There was 3 actors that quit because they weren't getting paid enough. So they had to replace the yellow, the red, and the black Power Ranger, right? And those characters kind of just like disappeared. One of them pops up in later seasons as like a different Ranger. But they just like quit because they're like, oh, like we're going to go do this competition. And they're like, all right, see you later. And that's how they got written out of the show, right? And that's it. But in the comics, they actually explore how like they were actually chosen to be like a different Power Ranger team and like going across the galaxy.
Oh, okay.
So like it like brings like just extra lore into the show. It's like an alternate timeline just to be safe. But you're seeing just like so much more lore about like the Morphing Masters, which were characters that were like mentioned and sprinkled throughout the seasons, but we never really physically got to see them, kind of thing. And like the big villain, like Lord Zed, for example, in the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger and in the movie, the big guy who's like red and has like the silver bones and has like the giant staff Zed, like he's like him and Zordon were actually friends back in the day. Like they were both Altarian, and like what happened to Lord Zed was kind of Zordon's fault. So it just gives you so much more lore. And I'm like using that and then bringing that into my RPG universe. It's just really good. That's mostly in comics. Then we're going to the manga section. I finished up Tokyo Revengers finally. All 31 volumes.
Yep.
Done.
Crank through it, honestly.
Crank through it, yeah.
Once you finally did start reading it, you just crushed it.
Yeah, like it's...
Now, was that because you were setting yourself goals of like, hey, I need to read this much of it? Or was it because you were genuinely like, hey, this is hard to put down?
A little bit of both. Like I started, because when I got back into reading it, it was kind of where season 1 ends. So like volume 9, volume 10. And I was like, you know what? Like I have time to kill. I'm just going to read it. And then just from like volume 10 to volume 20 specifically is just go, 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 lore, jumping back and forth. So much stuff happens.
I know. It's like all gas.
It's so good. And then you get to like volume 21. You're like, okay, cool. They could easily end it here.
But they don't.
And then they don't. And then as a curiosity, you're like, okay, why does this keep going?
What happens, yeah.
And then you just get to the end and you're like, oh.
So how would you describe the ending as a good ending, a bad ending, an ending? Like, what are we?
I think it's a stupid ending.
Oh, okay.
It creates a paradox, and like I'm a big time travel fan, and like it.
Then you know it's very tough for that to just not happen.
Exactly, but it breaks like the rules of time travel, and like it really depends too. And
I feel like when it comes to time travel stories, you're there for the good time that is the ride of it.
Yeah,
you're not there to
the ending of it.
There is never a nice bow at the end.
You're
of
not
many
watching
time travel related stories.
You're not watching time travel to understand like the science and the schematics behind it
because it's not real.
Because it's not real. But Yeah, I don't know. It was a good ride until the very end, and then it was just like, well, I think I need to end it here, and they just kind of end it. And you're like, this is.
Where do you put it on like JJK, AOT, like?
The thing is that when you're comparing like JJK, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, Tokyo Revengers, those
Some
are like
of them
the
are just feel like they're maybe a little quick, but they wasn't necessarily bad. You just feel like you wanted a bit more. Some are just get more hate than they deserve.
I think what puts Tokyo Revengers different from those ones is that it felt like reading through it that there was a spot they could have ended, where I feel like My Hero just
where
kept
a lot
getting,
more people would have been happy.
exactly, yeah. Because I feel like JJK, Attack on Titan, My Hero, even Demon Slayer, there's not really like a moment throughout the story where you're like, okay, cool, this is it. Like, there's not like you don't read through My Hero and get to volume 30 and you're like, okay, cool, Midoriya could easily become the greatest hero here.
Like Demon Slayer, you knew you were like, okay, yeah, we're at the end.
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
felt like maybe there could have been that little bit of extra lore for certain characters, or certain fights maybe felt they could have gone on a little longer. And
the big difference between like if you're comparing like My Hero and Demon Slayer, for example, is that My Hero had too much lore, Demon Slayer didn't.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, but we can compare series to series for various.
Sure. I think for me, like it's closer to the bottom. Like JJK and it are competing.
Yeah,
for being like near the bottom there for me. Attack on Titan, I think, I think it's hit or miss. I think some people like the ending. Some people are like, really don't like it.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle where I'm like, you know what? It didn't ruin the series.
Exactly.
Is it the best ending ever? No. But also, when you think of such a longer running series,
could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, could have been a lot worse.
So like, especially when it's a world like that, they're like anything can happen.
What's one thing that makes you so nervous about something like One Piece, right?
Yeah.
I feel like no matter how it ends, it's never going to truly ruin the story for me, but it is definitely in the back of your head.
That's how I feel about Tokyo Revengers. Like, the ending was pretty crud, but it was the journey to get there was really great.
Same with Jujutsu Kaisen, where it was like, it felt like it was just on the gas pedal, the author, the whole entire time. You're just like, I'm here for it.
Yeah. And then it just...
Yeah. And he goes off a cliff.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But you enjoyed that ride before the
cliff. Exactly. Outside of that, we can move on because it's already been almost a half an hour. But basically, what I'm reading weekly is mostly just One Piece and Kaiju number 8.
So you're excited for Kaiju number 8 season 2?
I'm excited for Kaiju 8 season 2. I am... Speaking of manga endings, like we have one chapter left of Kaiju number 8.
I totally forgot that that's also
that ends in July. I think it's like July 17th or something. And the way the most recent chapter ended, it's going to be somewhere in the middle where I'm like, you know what? That's an okay ending. Because it's kind of exactly how you want it to end. It's not like pulled out of left field, like it's not like the reverse of anything.
But it's not the ultimate bow either.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to die or not. Full discretion, I have no idea. So I'd be happy with either, to be honest.
All right, fair enough.
But we're gonna find out.
You have to jump onto the Gachiakuta train before.
I know. I gotta jump onto that one because I gotta find something new to read. So that's out of Dan to Dan because I started reading that a little bit. But
all right, maybe we can both read Gachiakuta. Exactly. We did both have predictions.
We did.
I was gonna do pretty well potentially with the anime. So
we'll see. Moving on to what you watching, Connor? What you been watching?
Oh well, first of all, if we want to go directly, right off the rip, The Bear new season dropped.
Just dropped. Yep.
I've already watched half of it. Gosh, you know what? I don't think I should like the show as much as I do. I feel like that's how a lot of people feel about it.
Yeah.
But man, it's one like emotional, stressful.
It's got the thing in it.
It does have the thing in it, with a beard.
Yikes.
Hey, that's comic book accurate.
That is comic book accurate.
But yeah, that's definitely right off the rip what I've been watching. If we go all the way back to February though, for a good while, and this goes for both of us, was cranking out some MCU films.
Yeah.
Shocker, hit a wall right before my least excited movie, which was Thor: The Dark World.
I think that's why we're like, we have to watch it.
But we'll help be jumping back on that bus real soon because we want to start releasing those.
Yep.
And unfortunately, if we want to keep reading, we do have
to
keep
watching them.
So
sucks because we just got to get through Thor: The Dark World, and then it's just like 4 good movies back to back to back to back.
So Marvel films, watched the last season of You.
Yep.
I saw How to Train Your Dragon live action.
We did.
That was good.
It was pretty. It was pretty.
It was pretty close. If not, I mean, we would have to watch them right together to truly, really point out the differences. But it looked nice. Did you see the images of how they wanted to do the dragons?
More realistic
that
looking.
Was disturbing looking.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't go that route.
I agree.
But yeah, that was solid. Probably the best live action remake we've seen of any.
Because of how well it did, it's rumored that they're actually starting production of a Prince of Egypt live action, and I was like, that's a very interesting one to pick, but okay.
Isn't Prince of Egypt just Moses?
Pretty much.
But yeah, that was good. What else have I been watching? I'm trying to think of real shows. No, not much for real shows. And obviously, the big thing is the coming up movies. Superman, Ironheart, which is the first 3 episodes are already out.
The whole season will be out by the time this podcast comes out. Actually,
so we would have already watched it.
Yep.
It does look like it's getting review bombed. I don't know if that's some of just hate.
Yeah.
We will definitely be the judges of that, but I don't think it's that bad. But we'll find out. Maybe it is. Maybe
it's just complete garbage, but we won't know yet. So
and then obviously Fantastic Four. As for anime, we've watched basically 2 seasons since the last time we've done this.
Yep.
So I won't go into every single show, which when I was reviewing to making some of the stuff I've been watching, turns out not that much stuff came out the current season that's I'm like, you have to go watch this.
Oh, fair.
But obviously
that's because there were some big disappointments. So.
Goes without saying, Apothecary Diaries Season 2. If you haven't checked out, we had our Anime of the Month for June, which was Apothecary Diaries Season 1.
Just last week.
Got a golden review from us, I would say. People love it. It's definitely worth watching the Season 2. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen Season 1 yet, go watch Season 1 and watch Season 2. Soul Leveling Season 2. If you haven't seen Season 1, I mean, where have you been? It's the biggest anime right now.
It's the anime of the year.
Season 2, in my opinion, was way better.
Yep.
If you just want some
brainless
crazy action, cool powers, you don't want any deep characters, you just want to see some cool shite happen, then that's the story. Definitely recommend it. Animation's good. I did also note that Medalist was out. We discussed this in our 6-month manga sales rating. It's doing really well for sales, mostly due to the anime adaptation. So definitely check that out. I put in here as a interesting ones. We got Zenshu, which was kind of a fun take, I would say, on an isekai.
Yep.
And To Be Hero X, which has been unique.
Unique, I think, is the easiest way to phrase it. It's a Chinese animation company.
Yeah, which they have there's a lot more. I forget the term for the Chinese anime, but there's more and more coming out every season. It feels like, and they usually do at least pretty well. In terms of animation, and even the stories have been very solid. And then that's it for anime. And then the last few things I have down is some just regular real stuff. Watch the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is hockey.
Yep.
For those who are not familiar, we are Canadian, by the way.
What?
I've been watching some golf. During this time, the Masters happened. Rory finally won the Masters and completed the Grand Slam. Watched the U.S. Open. That was on Father's Day. Watched that with my dad. F1 races during the F1 season, and then that's pretty much been it. Nice. Watching everything. On top of YouTube, obviously, as well.
Yeah, of course.
What about you, Matt?
I'll just list the seasonal animes that I watched for the spring season. I still got a couple episodes left as of recording to finish these up. But we got My Hero Academia Vigilantes.
It's decent.
Obviously, it's not as good as My Hero, but I honestly just read Vigilantes. I think it's a lot more fun, easier to digest. We got Once Upon a Witch's Death. It's just a little witch girl anime. She's dying. She needs to collect 1,000 tears of joy to survive. Anne Shirley, which is your Anna Green Gables adaptation.
Decent.
It's decent. It looks pretty.
It's cute.
It's cute. It's just very slice of lifey.
Yeah.
We got The Gorilla's God's Go-To Girl. That one is super random, and I keep watching it just because it's so weird because it's so slice of life because it's very much like day to day. Like she's finished up school and now she met this boy now, but everyone's got like a power connected to an animal. She got like kidnapped and she actually went crazy because she's got the gorilla god powers, and they're
So you're
like,
in it for the powers.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Beginning after the end.
Just go read it.
Yeah. And then I started watching To Be Hero X. To Be Hero X as well. The animation is very different, very unique, and for what I'm traditionally used to.
Yeah.
But that's all the seasonal animes. I'm not actively watching any other anime right now outside of the seasonals because I wanted to finish this all up.
Yeah, that's fair. We have a big season coming this summer.
We do.
Tons of shows. It's gonna be very hard on top of
catch
work and everything else we'll be doing to keep up, but hopefully we can.
Exactly.
Fingers crossed.
I will recommend. I watched recently a movie called Lost in Starlight. It's on Netflix. It's a Korean anime film, and
It's on Netflix for North America.
for North America. Yeah, at least Canada. So definitely give that a watch. Saw How to Train Your Dragon live action, obviously, with you. By this time this episode comes out, Ironheart season will be done. Another big things is that I started rewatching The Flash with my girlfriend.
Nice. How far are you into that?
We just finished season 1 yesterday. I forgot how strong that show actually starts off.
Oh yeah, it's like first 3-4 seasons.
At least 3 seasons. But like just the ending of season 1, and like try not to spoil things because it's not until like the third last episode when Barry actually puts it all together that Harrison Wells is the Reverse Flash and everything.
Yeah.
And then just like the plot twist with Eddie Thawne at the end of season 1, she was like, well, on the paper it says Barry, like it says Iris West Allen, so like obviously they have to end up together, but I don't know how this whole Eddie thing is gonna happen. I was like, you won't guess how it's gonna happen actually.
Yeah. I think the only thing I didn't love about the Flash TV show, but I understood, was how all the villains kind of got powers.
Yeah. It's classic Smallville vibe where it's like, there's
exactly.
kryptonite everywhere.
Yeah,
oh man,
it really was
villain of the
taking that
week
formula, wasn't it? Like,
it really was.
But I wasn't in love with that.
Yeah.
But it was definitely for the first few seasons, very, very solid show.
Yeah, and it's just really fun to see characters like Captain Cold and Heatwave on like the big screen, and like Wentworth Miller kills it as Captain Cold. Like
they're both great.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great actors.
Yeah, they are. They're the Prison Break brothers, right?
know.
Like great duo, great casting
great
for that.
show. Oh, man.
Honestly, all the Prison Break actors that come into the CW, they just
great.
like fit so well. But moving on, RPGs, Connor.
RPG, nothing really crazy to report. I wrote down that we have like a game night with some of my friends on Mondays. When certain people are there, we play Baldur's Gate. So we've been back on Baldur's Gate 3. So we actually been trying to relearn the game because it's been so long since we played it. But that's pretty much the only big like role-playing game in terms of like, anything close. I did also note that hopefully we can maybe get a party going on with the Nerdy Misfits Gaming, and we can stream it and have some episodes coming out with all 4 of us.
That could be a lot of fun.
Baldur's Gate 3. I think that would be something to see.
To say the least.
Yeah, to say the least. But if you aren't subscribed to the Nerdy Misfits Gaming, we'll put them down in the description below. They stream every Tuesday. I think Troy is going through Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which I am also playing through. Fantastic game. Fun fact, I told Matt that Daredevil
Charlie Cox
is in fact the voice of the main character, which I was not paying attention
super random.
to. And I saw in an interview where someone gave him credit. They're like, wow, I played this, you were great, blah blah. And he's all like, don't give me any credit for that. He's like, I'm a fraud. I don't play any games. He's like, honestly, I went into the studio, recorded it took me like 4 hours to do the lines. And he's like, and I was out. He's like, I don't deserve all the praise that people are getting, but he's like, I'm really happy that the studio and the game worked out and it's really good.
Beautiful.
But it was kind of a funny interaction.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's it. What about you, Matt? You've got Power Rangers, obviously.
Yeah, recently had Power Rangers for the first time in like 2 months. We had sessions like back-to-back Mondays, so session 38, session 39. It was great to get back into it after months not playing. Took a little bit to get into it just because we've been so kind of rusty and away from it for so long. Like
People were excited though?
People were excited, especially like session 39 ended with like the biggest plot twist so far, where a character that died 19 sessions ago, they find them and they're just like chained up and on the brink of death.
Oh,
and
so it's intense.
It's intense, and like the rule is like this character was a Power Ranger, and the big rule is that every 10 sessions, a Ranger's got to die.
Of course.
So there's some tension to say the least.
You know something's coming.
Exactly. Then I foreshadowed this villain that's popped up a couple times and like how he's kind of behind a lot of the things that have been like building up throughout the story, which is a lot of fun. Outside of that, I started writing a Transformer RPG session, probably like a one shot or like
fun.
a two session thing, which will take place.
The same
same company, yeah, the
yeah,
Essence
so
20 system.
nice. Okay.
So that's going to take place in the same universe as Power Rangers, as they've already met Optimus Prime and some G.I. Joe operatives and stuff.
Of course they have.
Because my world makes no sense. And another big news, which I will be purchasing soon, is something called Daggerheart, which is the new RPG system that's out. It's made by the guys from Critical Role.
Yep.
And it's said to have the rules they really liked from 3rd edition mixed with rules they really enjoyed from 5e, kind of with a new dice system. Apparently, it's more narrative based, so it's a lot more for the DM and the GM to really like push forward storytelling.
Okay.
So
cool.
I'm really excited for that. I have not physically bought it yet, but I've been looking at it. It's on sale right now on Amazon. It's just like it's there.
It's tempting you. It's tempting.
Very tempting because it's about the same price as the D&D book right now, but it's on sale, so it's cheaper than a D&D book. Moving on, TCGs. Connor.
TCGs. Okay. Nothing crazy to report here. I played Commander for the first time for Magic the Gathering.
What color was your deck? Do you remember?
Red, I believe.
Okay, mono deck.
But yeah, it was our one friend is really into Magic. He has a ton of Commander decks. Does live further away, so we don't see him all the time in person. And we had a planned event. Told him to bring enough Commander decks to play a game. So we had 4 people, and it was pretty chaotic, but it was pretty fun. I mean, maybe it was more fun because I did end up winning, and that obviously winning is very fun. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. And on top of that, I've just been working on building some more retro decks for Yu-Gi-Oh. I now have Yu-Gi-Oh decks for a good few years. I have a couple decks for 2010, a couple decks for 2011, some for 2012.
Yeah.
So, definitely building the collection of older Yu-Gi-Oh decks that I don't ever have to worry about aging out because it's just stuck in a time capsule basically.
Yeah,
the deck's
exactly.
built, and those are the
just
cards
the way-
that are in. Yeah. So that's at least exciting. Something easy for to have for friends. Like me and Matt can just pull out 2011 decks. And the other thing that's easy is a lot of people who have dabbled in Yu-Gi-Oh, a lot of those older decks are at least in the area in which everyone understands the rules still, because that's pretty much the newest is XYZ's in 2012, and that's relatively easy to explain for most of the cards, people that might not understand it. But that's fun. Other than that, nothing. What about you, Matt?
Well, we did pick up some of the new One Piece decks that recently came out.
That is true. We did pick up some One Piece decks. We have to give those a try.
Yeah.
And we have been to what feels like there's a new card store around us opening up like every 4 months or so.
I'm very much more on the ball than Connor is when it comes to board game stores and card stores, being like, oh, hey, just, there's a new one that opened in the Falls, or there's one in Fawn Hill or St. Catharines. So we'll get into that in a
in
sec.
all of the neighboring cities. Matt's just like, oh, there's a new one here. And it's like, oh, okay.
Recently, I've been sorting through a lot of my Pokemon cards to kind of see the value before I sell some of them off. Just slowly getting over certain collections. I think, like, I loved playing Pokemon, collecting Pokemon, but it's just gotten so...
Oh, Pokemon's just...
I just can't do it anymore. And it's so unfortunate because, like, I love Pokemon, but I can't justify spending $15 on a pack anymore.
Yeah, and that's,
like,
and then if you're like, okay, I'll buy a box. Well, can you even find a box?
Exactly. And if you're paying for a box, it's going to be like $120, $130. And I'm like, I just can't.
It's even probably more.
Well, that's just for, like, one of the boxes that have, like, 8 packs. That's not even including, like, a full 36 booster box, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you can even find a booster box, like, it's probably hiked to the moon.
It's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of it. So, like, I have a couple
cards. It's
not
even a kid's card game at this point. It's
it's a collector's game. Yeah. It's the new hockey cards, in a way.
And it's definitely ruining a lot of the fun of it. Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know. I loved playing it, loved collecting, like, I remember years ago, I mean, like, man, it would be great to have, like, a living Pokedex of Pokemon cards. Like, one Pokemon card per Pokemon.
But you're not collecting them as assets. You're collecting them because you
just want to collect them.
Yeah, I know.
But it's one of those things, like, I have a Pokemon card right now that I'm like...
Yeah, you have a Moonbreon.
Yeah, I have the Moonbreon. It's just sitting there, double sleeved in a binder, and I'm like, it's a beautiful card, but I got a couple other Umbreons that look cool, too. But anyways, so I'm going through that. I've recently been playing a couple new card games called Altered, which is a card game from Europe, I believe. The 3rd series just came out. I've played it a few times. one of the card stores in St. Catharines actually has an Ultra Night, but there's only like 6 or 7 people that go. It's a mix of fictional universe characters mixed with royalty-free characters like Dorothy and Alice and Merlin.
Oh, interesting.
But it also sprinkles in mythologies and spiritual characters
it's just all over the place.
from everything. Like there's indigenous ones, there's Greek, Roman, Norse, Egyptian.
What if all the gods got into a big fight?
It's really
against
cool.
humanity.
That sounds familiar.
That could be a good story.
Could be a good story. Could be a good animation.
Could be a good anime.
Be.
They would have to really focus on the fight choreography.
Yikes.
And less crowd shots. No crowd shots.
No crowd shots. Waste of time. But it's been a lot of fun. It's similar to Magic in a way where it's a monocolored deck themed.
Okay.
Similar to One Piece, I guess, too. Just up recently. But yeah, it's very mono, so like there's only 6 different colors you can get. It's very common in card games.
I mean, Magic does definitely have multicolored, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
But One Piece is finally getting into more habit of introducing dual colored cards.
They had it early, but yeah, there are a lot more decks that seem to be more viable as duo as opposed to this is a duo, but you really only want to run the black
exactly,
cards.
And then another one I started getting into a little bit called Union Arena, which is basically a shonen focused card game.
Yeah, it's one that has all like big anime titles.
Yeah, Hunter x Hunter, JJK, Demon Slayer, One Punch, Sword Online. I do have a Demon Slayer deck, so I wanted to test it out, and it's pretty fun. It's again, it's monocolored, so there's yellow, purple, or red for Demon Slayer specifically. But it's also nice in a way because like if you're wanting to play a Demon Slayer deck, you can only pick up Demon Slayer cards. You can't mix JJK cards with your Demon Slayer deck. Like if you want to play JJK, then you have to get JJK cards.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Full Metal Alchemist cards are coming out soon. I might pick up a couple packs or like a base deck just to kind of.
I gotcha.
Maybe, it's really what comes down to is when Kaiju number 8 cards come out. There's a lot riding on that, depending how the finale goes. Because that's my big thing is that like I don't know. I don't want to go into a series like buy a bunch of cards for a card game for a series that I just thought was meh.
Yep.
Like never got past season 1 of One Punch Man. Still haven't really watched too much Sword Art Online, so those 2 are automatically out. Never seen Black Clover. So really, it was between JJK, Hunter x Hunter, and Demon Slayer, and
Hunter x
Hunter was hard to find, so I wanted Demon Slayer. No offense to JJK, but
you didn't want Gojo on your team.
But that's basically it for RPGs.
All right, diving into our just extra stuff.
What's going on? Yeah.
Well, we did go on a big TCG/board game trip with
Gray.
yourself, me, and Gray.
Yep.
How did we end up going to? Like
we ended up to go
stores?
to 5 stores. Yeah, we bounced between like 3 to 4 different cities.
Yeah.
So
I picked up Wormspan.
You did?
And I also got an early gift from Matt, which was Tokaido, which was another board game I was looking at during that trip.
Yep.
Both by the same company, I believe, which is Stone Mayer.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, haven't played them yet, but super excited to get into them. They do look, I'm not going to say complicated. They definitely they look like they fall under the line of you play it once or twice and you're going to
before you fully understand. Yeah.
But it'll probably just be with like Matt, myself, Gray. But excited to give them a try. Wormspan is based on, I guess, a very popular
Wingspan. Not to be confused with like Finspan or whatever the fish one's called.
Which apparently all of them are different. Like they have like similar core mechanics, but they do divulge into their own board game instead of just being a copy pasta, which is nice. But yeah, this one is based on dragons. Matt will know.
You dabble in the dragons.
I'm a sucker for dragons. Dragons are cool.
Dragons are pretty rad.
I made some PC upgrades. Got a new GPU in the last, and if you know anything about computers, you know that GPUs are crazy. But yep, picked up a 9070 XT, which is AMD Team Red, for a pretty good price, honestly. Like did not get gypped in terms of any scalping and price being out of the. It's just, they're just expensive, and this one was actually a good price. So it was not, and then there's some aesthetic changes. Finally got a new case. I've been using the same case since like 2013, 2014-ish. So it's like over a decade I've been using the same computer case. So I finally upgraded one. And yeah, really like it. Looks nice. Tried out a Switch too.
How was
buy
that?
one. but I tried one. One of my friends has it, and it is
everything you dreamed of.
It's definitely a Switch.
Just a higher quality.
Only played
Switch.
like in handheld mode. I didn't play it like on a TV or anything. Yep. It's honestly it's a bigger Switch. Screen's a little brighter and nicer looking in terms of colors, but plays smoother, which you would hope because it's newer. But still, my hand was cramping because the controllers, like the Joy-Cons, are still cruddy in terms of like the way they're designed.
I'm only gonna get it when Gen 10 Pokemon comes out because that's gonna be a Switch 2 exclusive.
It'll be exclusive probably. But it's expensive. It's expensive for what it is.
Yep. But Nintendo knows that people will buy.
Yeah, they know. I mean, they did.
They did.
They are.
Yeah, people complain about the price, and Nintendo's like, too damn bad.
Yeah,
and
everyone
here we
it.
are.
In other nerdy stuff, picked up a new whiskey to try. I was with Matt. Picked up a wet Japanese whiskey. I tried it. It's pretty good. It's definitely different vibe to what I've had before. So that's nice. That's what we were going for. Something different. And then other nerdy stuff. Got some new coffee gear recently. Just like gadgets, not like anything crazy. Got a new scale. And I got if people understand this, I got a new WDT tool. Yep. Which is like the Wise distribution tool. If anyone's ever seen it, it's called the Flick. You have like a little button and you press, and the needles come out, and then you just flick, and there's like a magnet in it that puts it to the top so that they go away. And it also is magnetic on the side, so it can just stick to my espresso machine. It's just
even better.
It's very nice. And another big thing, this is really nerdy, but I got a magnetic dosing ring.
Okay.
That goes on my portafilter because I had a dosing ring, but the issue, not an issue, but if I wasn't paying attention, sometimes it'd fall off and it would knock coffee off. And now I've got a magnetic one that just clicks right on. I can put in my coffee from the dosing cup I have, and it's just it's very nice, Just it's nice. It's nerdy. It's definitely very niche.
It's a niche, but there's a lot of people that love coffee, and
I like it. It makes me happy.
Exactly.
And it just makes makes the workflow a bit cleaner.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, it's just nice. Coffee is very messy, like espresso, very messy. But other than that, hoping to get Matt to play maybe play more games with us. He now has a hand-me-down computer.
It's true. I do. I just need to have the time.
But anything else you'd like to add on that?
Really, the only thing that I can really think of for me personally is that I started painting minis. I'm
how's
better than I expected. I'm not great, 10 out of 10 in any regard, but I'm sticking to the bigger models right now.
Yeah, you starting a Warhammer army?
No, gosh, no. I have too many other hobbies to spend money on before I get there. I can't do it.
You can't just only go all in on one.
No, gosh, no. I need to sprinkle it in too much on everything else.
Yeah, that's true.
Just look at my jobs. So I started painting minis. So I recently painted a land shark, and then I started painting a rock golem, which I am almost done. I just need to paint the base.
So it could be fun for maybe some DMing and stuff too.
Yeah, that's the kind of the plan. I think the rock golem I painted with there's prisms that are coming out, or like gemstones that are coming out. Well, because you can buy
like the nice stuff that's not painted, right? But then also like if you get into painting, you have friends that maybe have 3D printers, right? And if you get into it, you can definitely do the painting yourself. So
exactly, I'll throw some pictures up on the Instagram so you guys can kind of see,
or the Discord,
or both.
Yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, if you made it this far, drop a comment.
Let us know what you've been up to in the past. I mean, basically 6 months.
6 months. How's 2025 treating you so far? We're at the halfway mark of 2025 officially when this episode comes out. Like this year's been man-made construct. But I guess, make sure subscribe, like the video, comment, let us know what's going on in your life. If there's something they're like, oh, I haven't heard about this card game, or can you tell us more about this or that?
Or Matt and Connor, check this out.
Yeah, check out this game. Check out
this anime.
Exactly.
This manga.
We love to hear from you guys.
And we'll do it eventually.
Exactly. We will. But until then, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. Don't forget to join the island by dropping a follow. Thank you, and see you next week.